everyone, and welcome back to Night Convos.
Welcome back. Hubby's here.
That was kind of loud. No, Hubby's here. We're glad you're here, Hubby. We all are.
Hubby is here.
Hubby is in the house.
Yes.
Anyway, y'all, we just want to say we've gotten a few more subscribers, so our little family here on YouTube is growing, y'all. And we couldn't be more thrilled about it. We are so thankful and grateful for every single one of you. All of you that's been with us from the very beginning all the way to now. And all of our new subscribers. Please know it means so very much to us that y'all have subscribed to us. And we appreciate all of you so very much. And we also got 3 super thanks that mean so very much to us and the channel. It really does help us and helps the channel grow as well. So we greatly appreciate that very, very much. We're working on an intro too with someone as well. So hopefully we'll be using that soon. A little short intro, which will be pretty cool. So thank you to that person so much, because that really was awesome.
Yeah.
They just offered to do that out of nowhere. Just emailed us and let us know. And we truly appreciate it very much. So thank you. But we wanted to say all that. But we're about to jump back into this book. And in the last one, in part 1, we told y'all everything that we needed to say in that part. So like we said, we're not going to repeat that in every book video. We're just going to jump straight in where we left off. So we left off at the end of chapter 1. I'm calling it a chapter, but Gyp has it listed as 1, 2, 3, 4, like, and so on, like I was saying, excuse me, in the first video. But we're going to try our best to just let it play through, and then we'll go back and, like, kind of give our commentary on it. Well, not kind of, but give our commentary on certain parts of it. So, anyway, we just wanted to say thank you so very much to all of you. You all mean so much to us, and we're so grateful to have all of you as part of our family and channel here on YouTube. So, thank you so much. And we'll jump into this book. We're jumping into 2, Cajun. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I forgot. We needed to play a clip for y'all real quick that we found quite odd. And I'm going to play that clip for y'all real quick before we jump into this book. We listen and we do not judge. Okay, y'all, that is stuck in my head. I'm not even kidding. Is it not stuck in your head from me saying it?
No, it's not stuck in my head.
I figured it would be by now, because like it's stuck in my head because it's like over and over again and it's like irritating. But y'all have to hear it because we did, so y'all have to hear it too. But this is Gyp, and I am like shocked a little bit because like I kind of grew up watching 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom and all of that, and Teen Mom 2 and stuff. And this is Kale Lowry from 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom. Okay, a lot of people think her name is Caitlin, but her name is actually Kaylin, and she goes by Kale. So it's Kale Lowry, and she has her own podcast and actually had Gyp, the Schmurderer herself, on her podcast. So they did this little we listen and we do not judge exercise thing. Y'all check it out.
Listen and we don't judge. You're first.
Okay, so I'm first. So I used a baby bottle until I was an adult.
We all have trauma, and we don't judge.
Okay, well, first you need to at least say that it was your choice to do so.
I also thought about using my mom's meds to self-medicate. Relatable?
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
We listen and we don't judge.
So I also used to steal my mom's pain medication to get high.
Okay, but she also kept it locked up. So which is it? Like, come on, Gyp. Did you do this or did you not? Or did you do it before Dee Dee started having to lock up her medication?
We listen and we don't judge. I also lied to CPS as a child. We listen and we don't judge.
I wrote a book while I was in prison.
We listen and we don't judge. I also ran away to my boyfriend's house when I was young. So we listen.
Except for you didn't unalive your mother or anyone else when you did so.
And we don't judge.
To find out more, you can purchase my book wherever books are sold.
But you don't have to do that because we got it for free and we're going over it now. So we listened and we did judge.
Mhm.
We listened and we did judge. So anyway, and make sure y'all leave y'all's thoughts, comments, and opinions and everything down below on this and the book and the parts that we're going over. We've heard some stories about, you know, what's in this book to come, but we still wanted to go over it like in sections with y'all and give our commentary on it and see y'all's commentary on it and all that as well. Okay, so here we are jumping into part 2, and y'all, we did speed it up some because if we didn't, oh my goodness, it would be absolutely obnoxious how slow she speaks. Even though she was in a recording studio and they could have helped her with that, but whatever. Here we go.
2. Cajun. Referring to Acadians, the French-speaking people who migrated to South Louisiana from Nova Scotia in the 18th century, and their descendants. My mama, Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard, was all about her culture. She was 100% born and bred French Cajun from a place called Golden Meadow in the great state of Louisiana. Golden Meadow is the southernmost incorporated area of Lafourche Parish, and you can list its local residents on the front and back of a sheet of loose leaf paper. Mama loved Cajun cooking, which requires the holy trinity of ingredients: onions, bell peppers, and celery. Her birth surname was Petrie, which means clown in French. Some people confuse it and pronounce it Petri, as in the Petri dish, on which penicillin was first discovered. You don't need to listen too hard to notice a distinct dialect among those of Cajun descent who live in
Well, listen at Dip Jip trying to teach us about how penicillin was discovered.
I know, right?
Like, that was wild. Sorry, y'all. That's gonna turn. I don't mean to do that. Apologize. Apologies ahead of time.
southern Louisiana. My mother couldn't pronounce the TH sound, so when she said, "give me that," it sounded like, "give me that." In fact, she H dropped a lot. Shave off hair was shave off air. No matter how her words sounded, make no mistake, Claudine Blanchard always knew exactly what she was saying. I think when you love to tell stories, like she did, you learn early on to choose your words and their delivery with precision, the better to ensnare the listener. My mother's first big lie that I knew of was when she met my dad, Rod Blanchard, in 1990. Dad was 17 years old and already working as a trawler when he met my mom at the local bowling alley. I imagine my dad back in the day as a totally chill kid who got along with everyone, no matter what friend group he belonged to. He just wanted to have a good time, go see live bands, and didn't expect anything from anyone. Signing himself out of school early, my dad was a hard worker, still is. At the bowling alley, my mother introduced herself to him, telling him she was 21. Like in one of those 80s movies where some geeky freshman chases after the senior homecoming queen, Dad's boy brain thought he'd score with an older woman, one who had her own ride, a Ford Fiesta, and could legally buy him booze and be his designated driver. He just didn't know how much of an older woman she truly was. Mama was actually 23 years old. The question is, why would a woman in her 20s want an immature boy as a boyfriend? Knowing what I know now, I suspect she thought she could manipulate or control him in a way a man her age wouldn't allow. Or maybe her insecurity made her feel that a man her age wouldn't want her. She could have thought Dad was just hot. These things all could be true at the same time. So they started dating. Mama driving Dad to Biloxi to bar hop, going out to see hair bands in the NOLA club scene, frequenting the local dive bar hangout, the Greenhouse. Mama was really into music. When she was younger, she used to follow bands around. She claimed she was in a relationship with Jack Russell, the lead singer of the 80s hair band Great White. I was recently told by a friend of Mama's that they were both outside a concert venue waiting for the band to come out of the tour bus, and my mother managed to get a picture taken with Jack, which she framed and hung on her bedroom wall. She told anyone who saw it that Jack had mailed the photo to her because they were in a relationship, which was completely false. Mama also claimed she was a virgin before she met my dad. I'm not going to ask my dad his opinion on this, but I know that being a groupie and a virgin cannot be true at the same time. According to stories I've heard, Mama had a thing for lead singers and wanted to be their girlfriend. Sometimes she sent flowers to herself and told people they were from various rock stars. With lies, she created lore. She was always telling stories. That was just Dee Dee. Was kneading together lies to make a tasty story a learned behavior from her childhood? There are plenty of secrets in the Petrie family that no one talks about. I'm positive it's like that in most families. When you have a secret as big as the one my mother kept about her own father, Claude Petrie, who could blame her? My mother was the baby of 6 children. And get this, of the 6, half were named after their father, Claude. Claude Jr., Claudia, and Claudine. Narcissist much?
Huh.
Dee Dee, as Mama was called, had dreams of being a somebody. She often made it a point to remind me that she could have been that somebody if she hadn't given it all up to take care of me.
Was she saying like narcissist much, like just trying to anger people, like knowing that she's the one that's a narcissist? Like,
Yeah,
it's
I
just a
think
thought.
so.
Sorry to pause it, y'all. Sorry. We're gonna go over some of this after the chapter's over.
By the time my mother was 12, she had gained a lot of weight. According to her, she blew up, and she tried to wrap her middle in cellophane to sweat off the fat. I can't help but think her eating disorders coincided with her gaining womanly body fat after getting her first period, and with trying to purge the secret of what happened when my grandfather insisted on joining her during baths. During her 11th and 12th grade years, Mama lost close to 200 pounds. Apparently, my grandmother Emma body-shamed Mama relentlessly, calling her fat. Mama began a very unhealthy diet and soon developed anorexia and bulimia. Her high school friend told me she remembers Mama eating only rice cakes for a whole year. Momsy Emma, as I called her, used to say her husband Claude was a man whore, claiming he had a wandering eye. I don't know if Emma knew what Claude was doing to Dee Dee. Back then, who knows? When Mama was younger, Momsy used to keep her home from school all the time, telling her she was sick when she really wasn't. My mother told me she used to drink vinegar to make her skin snow white so she'd be more beautiful. And I guess it worked. In her senior year in 1986, Mama was South Lafourche High School's ROTC Queen. ROTC stands for Reserve Officers Training Corps. I never knew this track is for students who want to go to college to train to become Army officers. How Mama loved to talk about this momentous event. She made it seem that after that crowning, she had been entered into pageants all around the state, except that wasn't true. I have come to find out that she attended pageants out of the obligation of being the 1986 ROTC Queen. She had not been entered in any pageants after that. I feel sad for Mama now for wanting me to believe that one pageant was so much more than what it was. I think it was the only time in her youth when she felt truly special and pretty. She would tell me the same stories of her glory days over and over again, how celebrities hit on her on Bourbon Street, or how musicians put her name in their songs and in the liner notes of their albums. More needing. Was she trying to get my adoration? My attention? Was she trying to make me jealous? I heard about how skinny she got, how pretty she got, and how people applauded her when she was a beauty queen. It almost seemed like she was trying to make me feel even smaller in my wheelchair, with no teeth, malnourished, androgynous, with no attractiveness at all, most of the time dressed as a boy. I'd think she used to have it all, until I came along. I put her on a pedestal. I'd see pictures and think, wow, that was my mama. No wonder Claude loved her most. Maybe I didn't follow in Mama's footsteps as a beauty queen, but when it came to Claude, I would turn out to be his favorite, just like my mom had been. I don't know when Mama's dreams died, but by the time she met my father, she was drifting. She had tried. I remember her saying, the rest of his kids were fuck-ups, so I tried to do my mom proud by joining junior ROTC and winning a beauty pageant.
And this is what she wants her daughter to hear. Like,
Yeah.
seriously. Sorry about that turning, y'all. We're having to record this on hubby's phone from my phone. So, yeah. Sorry about the picture turning or whatever. But basically, these are just to listen to anyway, not to really watch.
At the time, 23-year-old hospital worker Dee Dee approached my father in a bowling alley. She had never been in a serious relationship that I know of, had only completed 2 years of college, and wasn't in nursing school as she had intended. She blamed the lack of achievement on having me, but I think it's the other way around. She hadn't achieved much, so caring for a chronically sick kid became the excuse or even the justification. See, Dee Dee isn't a fuck-up like the rest of those kids. Poor thing's got Gypsy. My grandmother Sharon, my dad's mother, worked at the public library, and one day noticed a book in the return bin that had Mama's name on the checkout card in the back pocket. The title was something along the lines of How to Get Pregnant Fast. Concerned, Sharon called her son to warn him. If you know any 17-year-old boys, I don't need to tell you her warning fell on deaf ears. Instead, Dad confronted Mama, who became enraged that Sharon breached the confidentiality rules of the library. Next thing you know, Mama was trying to get Sharon fired. I know Mama had a taste for vengeance because I often witnessed it.
Well, that sounds quite familiar. Her trying to get people fired.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that Dee Dee done that, but we know that you've done that, or Bree, or whoever, your quote, Team Gypsy, as you call it.
So it makes sense that she jumped to such a vindictive act. You think she would have cared about the risk that her boyfriend's mother could end up hating her? Characteristically, my mother got very defensive and felt slighted by the smallest actions, even if they weren't done on purpose. She'd read into things, make assumptions about what people were thinking, take unrelated actions as personal affronts, and would shut them down in any way she could. Mama also ran away from situations and conflict a lot. Later in my life, I think she graduated from defensive to paranoid. This made it very difficult for her to have relationships, especially with her siblings. Her paranoia was partly why she isolated us from the world. Long story short, the pregnancy book worked because, well, here I am. In order to gather an understanding of my mother and my own birth story, I've had to endure some TMI moments with Dad and his wife of 30 years, Christy. The tale is as old as time. Rod wasn't in love with Dee Dee, but he was brought up with a sense of duty that told him he had to marry her. It was the right thing to do when you get a girl pregnant. They had sex 3 times in their entire relationship and didn't consummate their marriage. Dee Dee didn't fuss too much about that. Maybe she had gotten what she wanted out of Rod already. Because he was a minor, Dad needed his own mother's signature to consent to his marriage. The ceremony and reception were at the VFW in Golden Meadow, Louisiana on December 27, 1990. On the way there, Dad and one of his groomsmen got into a wreck and totaled Mama's Ford Fiesta. Dad was arrested for driving without a license, and he used his phone call to ask Mama's parents, Claude and Emma, to bail him out so he could make it to the hall to marry their daughter. Once they all arrived at the altar, Dad didn't have the rings. In the middle of the ceremony, my dad's best man, Terry Jr., literally ran out of the VFW and all the way back to Grandma Sharon's house to fetch the rings from the kitchen counter. After the wedding reception, Dad and Mama partied at the greenhouse, where Dad was chatting up his high school friends and old girlfriends, and did a shot at the bar with his best friend, Christy, who worked at the same local hospital as Mama. Christy had been invited to the wedding, but declined, saying she had other plans, a lie Christy was caught in awkwardly as Mama ran into her at the greenhouse. Dad looked handsome in his all-white tux, which had become playfully disheveled, with his shirt untucked and his tie unknotted.
So Christy was chasing after Rod even then, when she knew that Dee Dee was pregnant with Rod's child
Yeah.
and everything. Like, wow, that says a lot about Christy.
Sure does.
His mission? Get drunk as a skunk. Which he did. Mission accomplished. Mama and Dad's wedding night was spent in Claude and Emma's house, in the upstairs bedroom where they planned to live for a while. At the age of 17, my dad was already working as a full-time fisherman, trawling for shrimp. He had signed himself out of high school as soon as he legally could to follow his own father's footsteps in the family trade. Trawling is a type of commercial fishing that involves a boat pulling a weighted fishing net behind it through the water or on the seafloor to target certain fish and seafood species, including a Louisiana staple, shrimp. My dad worked on a shrimp boat with 20-foot nets that had mouths as large as Moby Dicks, swallowing up shrimp wherever they were hiding, in lakes, rivers, causeways, and the bayou. Trawling is hard work, especially when emptying the shrimp from the nets and putting them on ice and storing them. Dad would be gone for weeks at a time. Even today, his job as a boat captain requires him to work the boat for a month straight. At least once Mama had me, she'd have the help of her own Mama while Dad was gone. Being away from home so much made it convenient for Dad to play around behind Mama's back. Seeing other women without getting caught is a lot easier when you aren't expected home. And Dad went a little overboard, no pun intended, with his affairs. Ultimately, he got caught when a young girl around the same age as my dad came around looking for Mama's help. Or at least that's the story Mama told me. The girl wanted money from Mama for an abortion because Rod had gotten her pregnant. My mother, being Catholic, was not pro-choice and said she wouldn't aid the stranger in getting an abortion. But she did have extra diapers and formula of mine that she'd give her to help. The other girl decided to have and keep the baby, and today I have a half-sister almost the same age as me who doesn't live too far away. She seems like a really great girl, raised by her mama and stepdad, whom she considers her father. She reached out to me once when I was in prison. She was gracious and kind to me, and I only wish her the very best and only happiness. Sorry, it's hard not to digress in my storytelling, as the more I investigate, the more twists and turns of my colorful family unwind. With the other woman out of the picture, Dad and Mama were still having a bit of a sex problem, in that they weren't having any. They hadn't officially consummated their marriage, and with Dad away so much and seeing other women, the last time they'd had sex was when I was conceived. My dad went back and forth on how to leave Mama, starting almost immediately after the wedding. For almost 3 months, Rod called Christy asking for advice, for a way out of the marriage. Over and over again, he said to her, "I want to leave Dee Dee, but I don't know what to tell her. Tell her the truth. Tell her how you feel, was Christy's answer. Rod even went to Christy's mom for help, since she'd watched him grow up. Finally, on the morning of his 18th birthday, March 25th, 1991, my dad packed his things while Mama slept. What do you think you're doing? She asked when the wrestling awakened her, pulling the blankets off and sitting up. Dee Dee, I'm leaving. I don't love you. This is wrong, and I did this for the wrong reasons. Without words, Mama popped up from her bed, ripped the framed marriage license off the wall, and threw it across the room. I don't think this is when my mother's man-hating began. I think she always hated them. Men might be nice to look at, she'd say, but they'll betray you in a heartbeat. Better to just stay away from them all. So I did, until I didn't.
We know you didn't.
Exactly. We know you ran off for sausage many times. Many times. But we have a few clips to go over because I know that y'all are probably just as pissed and fired up about a lot of things she said and too as we are. Okay, so we're going to try to go back and play a few of the clips that just, some of them kind of like upset us, enraged us a little bit, and then some, we just had something to say about it, just like I'm sure y'all will. But when she said this,
I had mailed the photo to her because they were in a relationship, which was completely false. Mama also claimed she was a virgin before she met my dad. I'm not going to ask my dad his opinion on this, but I know that being a groupie and a virgin cannot be true at the same time.
Okay, no, like, girly pop. Okay, yes, you can be a quote groupie and be a virgin at the same time. Not everyone that followed bands around back then slept around. So what you're saying is not actually factual there, Dip Jip. So you say you don't want to ask your dad if your mom was a virgin or whatever when he got with her, but you know that you can't be a groupie and a virgin at the same time. That's literally calling all groupies HOs, basically. Y'all know what we're saying. So, that's just not true. I'm pretty sure because back in the 80s, I've heard stories and stuff of like people where women or girls, whatever, would follow bands around and everything. I'm sure not all of them were sleeping with the band members.
No.
Like, let's be real. My God. And then this.
In most families. When you have a secret as big as the one my mother kept about her own father, Claude Petrie, who could blame her? My mother was the baby of 6 children. And get this, of the 6, half were named after their father, Claude. Claude Jr., Claudia, and Claudine. Narcissist much?
Dip Jip calling her grandfather a narcissist? You would know though, wouldn't you, Dip Jip? You would know. You would know about being a pathological liar as well, and a manipulator. But you want to call your grandfather a narcissist. Okay. Well, you would know. And this just, it had made us have questions right here.
Maybe I didn't follow in Mama's footsteps as a beauty queen, but when it came to Claude, I would turn out to be his favorite, just like my mom had been. I don't know when Mama's dreams died, but by the time she met my father, she was drifting. She had tried. I remember her saying, the rest of his kids were fuck-ups, so I tried to do my mom proud by joining junior ROTC and winning a beauty pageant.
Okay. So you were in JROTC, which is the Junior ROTC, which stands for Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps, because they do have an ROTC once you reach college, which that people can join, which is just Reserve Officers Training Corps. But Dip Jip, that would mean that you were one out of your wheelchair and also an older kid for another, and also active, and you would have had to be in school, also around other kids and around other people, which you say you were never allowed to do. So yeah, we got questions. So Dip Jip, Bree, Dreamer, Aubrey, Strawberry, any of y'all care to explain? Like, like we didn't think so, but you know, I'm sure they won't explain this one. But how you gonna explain this one for real? You claimed that you were made to stay in a wheelchair all the time and couldn't have friends or be around other children or this, that, and the other. No, you attacked other children and stuff, and your mom had to keep you away from them at a certain point. But you joined the ROTC, so, or the JROTC. So I got questions. I got questions because you have to be older. Normally, you don't get to join junior ROTC until you're at least in high school. In most districts and most schools, you can't join it until high school. I think there might be a few where you can join it in junior high school, but as far as like I know, which I'm not in the teaching field or anything, so not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's safe for like high school, but older kids. So how are you a part of that and not around other kids and stuff like that, and in your wheelchair and stuff? Like, be so for real. Oh, y'all, and get this.
A serious relationship that I know of, had only completed 2 years of college, and wasn't in nursing school as she had intended. She blamed the lack of achievement on having me, but I think it's the other way around. She hadn't achieved much, so caring for a chronically sick kid became the excuse or even the justification. See, Dee Dee isn't a fuck up like the rest of those kids. Poor thing's got Gypsy. My grandmother completed 2 years of college and wasn't in nursing school as she had intended. She blamed the lack of achievement on having me, but I think it's the other way around. She hadn't achieved much, so caring for a chronically sick kid became the excuse or even the justification. See, Dee Dee isn't a fuck up like the rest of those kids. Poor thing's got Gypsy. My grandmother Sharon, my dad's mother.
Okay, so Dip, again, I got questions.
So she's admitting she was chronically ill.
Yeah, as a child. She just said that. So she's admitting you always tried to say that your mother just made it seem like, or you needed these surgeries and stuff and you didn't, or you needed medicines and you didn't, but you just slipped up there, boo, like you just slipped up, girly pop, and you admitted that you were a chronically sick child. Glad she finally admitted it or came to terms with it or whatever. We do still have the whole book for her to take it back and lie and contradict herself, though, so we'll see. Gypsy, and all the interviews and articles and all that stuff, etc., that you said that this book would have the, quote, story we've never heard before. So what the heck? What's up? How are you going to explain all these contradictions in your book? You know, the thing that this isn't a book, this is pages of my life. How are you going to explain all this? Listen to this clip.
Up like the rest of those kids. Poor thing's got Gypsy. My grandmother Sharon, my dad's mother, worked at the public library and one day noticed a book in the return bin that had Mama's name on the checkout card in the back pocket. The title was something along the lines of How to Get Pregnant Fast. Concerned, Sharon called her son to warn him. If you know any 17-year-old boys...
Okay, wait a minute. So you're trying to claim that your mom tricked your dad to get pregnant? Just like you apparently did to Kenny boy? Or Ryan? Like, really? Dang. This girl, I swear, everything that she says her mom did, she either has done herself,
Yeah.
and it's the other way around, and really Gyp's the one that done it, or she's literally doing it now.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Thank you, Abby.
Had Mama's name on the checkout card in the back pocket. The title was something along the lines of How to Get Pregnant Fast. Concerned, Sharon called her son to warn him. If you know any 17-year-old boys, I don't need to tell you, her warning fell on deaf ears. Instead, Dad confronted Mama, who became enraged that Sharon breached the confidentiality rules of the library. Next thing you know...
So she's saying that her mom tried to get Daddy Rod's mom, Sharon, fired. Why, I'll be dang. Your mom was supposedly trying to get your dad's mom fired from the dang library, just like you and Bree allegedly did, to another creator. What the heck, girly pop? And this makes the people like Melissa Moore look bad as well for helping you write this BS. Melissa Moore and Michelle, like, y'all both should be ashamed of literally co-writing this with Dip Jip. I mean, y'all just, it makes y'all look dingy as well.
Yeah, it does.
Do what?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
It does. Like, it makes them look like ding dongs, just like Dip Jip. Okay, here's the last clip that we had thoughts on.
Vindictive act. You think she would have cared about the risk that her boyfriend's mother could end up hating her? Characteristically, my mother got very defensive and felt slighted by the smallest actions, even if they weren't done on purpose. She'd read into things, make assumptions about what people were thinking, take unrelated actions as personal affronts, and would shut them down in any way she could. Mama also...
Well, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does.
Do what?
I said, yes, it does.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't know what you had said, hubby. Sorry. But you're saying your mom would make assumptions and all that and try to shut them down in any way she could, just like you do, and use people by proxy to do? Also, like how you run away from situations like you claim your mom did? How you won't answer real questions because in reality, you and Krusty Christie, but really more you, quote, don't have the balls to answer? Y'all can go back and look at that video that we did where we covered Gypsy's Rolling Stone article to see where Christie was saying none of us have the balls to actually face them or confront them to their face. Well, how can we even do that when all you do is run from it? That's all y'all do, run from it. Anytime somebody tries to confront y'all. Instead, you look to others to, quote, fight your battles for you. And also, y'all, please keep in mind, this is all alleged and for entertainment and educational purposes only. Just kidding. And like Dip Jip said, this is, quote, her memories. Also, she wrote this while in prison and after coming out of prison. Y'all, this is that email that I was showing in that shorter video from yesterday. But it's from Gypsy writing to her friend Rachel when Dip Jip was still in prison. She was writing to her friend Rachel that had done got out of prison. And Rachel was actually another one of Dip Jip's cellmates. Okay? And this is, and y'all can pause to read the screen if y'all want to read the whole email. But she's basically telling Rachel to like back off and stop making videos about her and stuff. And I showed y'all in that shorter video yesterday that, or last night really, that, this girl Rachel was literally getting people to write letters to the parole board on Dip Jip's behalf. Like, and I didn't even show that to you, hubby. But like, there's letters that Rachel was writing, and I need to show it to y'all as well. But we have a letter that Rachel showed that she wrote to the parole board on Dip Jip's behalf. And she was also out here making videos on TikTok and other social media platforms on Dip Jip's behalf, naming her child after Dip Jip. Well, she named her child Gypsy, obviously, but named her child after her. And then Dip Jip just came out and betrayed her. But Dip Jip was writing to her in an email and saying, Melissa feels an NDA is important so it protects the project. And then on down where we have it highlighted in blue saying, Ryan and Christy are looking out for my future and how the book is my financial stability. When really grifting has been your financial stability, having your white knighters throwing money at you and sending you free stuff for you and your alleged baby and everything for free. Okay, so we're going to close this one out here so it's not too long. But let us know in the comments below if y'all mind or not. Like, if y'all want us to make it longer, it would be about an hour long video, maybe a little less, like around 45 to 50 minutes long, if we did more chapters and went over them with our commentary and stuff. But let us know if y'all would have wanted us to go ahead and do part 3 as well or not. That way, for tomorrow, we'll know whether to go over part 3 and 4, because part 3 is a little longer, but part 4 is pretty short. So we'll probably do both of those in one video, as long as y'all don't mind. So let us know how y'all feel. And if y'all don't mind, then we'll go ahead and do both of those in the same video. But we're going to go ahead and close this one out, because this section was a little longer than most of them. Most of them are like around 10 to 15 minutes long, 11 minutes and stuff like that long. They're not very long. So, we'll just let us know what y'all think in the comments down below. And also, let us know y'all's thoughts and opinions on all of this and this section 2, just 2, Cajun, that we went over tonight. Let us know y'all's thoughts and comments and opinions down below and everything. Again, if you're not already, please make sure you subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of our videos, and we would greatly appreciate it. And also tomorrow, along with going over the book, we have a very important video that we've been working on that we're going to be posting. We'll be posting it either tonight or tomorrow, but it is about a couple and some stuff that happened to them, about a couple that it happened to them right near where we used to live. So we're gonna tell that story and what happened and stuff tomorrow. So it's really important to us for us to show y'all that story. So make sure y'all have the notification bell turned on so that you don't miss any of our videos. Also, YouTube has been being a little funny and unsubscribing people. It's happening to a lot of creators. But make sure that y'all are still subscribed, and if you're not already, make sure you do subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it so very much. But we hope you all have a good night, and God bless.
Have a good night and God bless.
Bye.
Bye.